I'm handsome and rich. Women tend to find that attractive. You'd be surprised how much I can get away with. You are so full of yourself. Maybe, but it's true. Tell the truth. If I was short, bald, broke and toothless with a hump on my back, you'd have told me off after catching me looking at your ass. Her mouth opened, and she looked adorable, trying to come up with a retort, even though her face had already told me I was right. You're an egomaniac. Maybe, but an attractive one. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to my review of one of the most popular erotic romance novels, Egomaniac by Keeland. Egomaniac is an office romance novel between Drew, a lawyer, and Emery, who is a psychologist. Emery has basically been scammed into renting Drew's office while he was on vacation, so they are both very surprised when Drew returns and finds her right there. But of course, Drew helps her, and there will be some series of coincidences and happy accidents that will bring them closer together. Drew Jagger is a lawyer. He specializes in family law. He handles divorces for the most part. And he is very dirty and direct, but he has his heart in the right place. Of course, because he works in such a profession where he mostly sees divorced couples and relationships that end up not working, he has this view on life that there is no point in having any serious relationship, and that's how he behaves. Emery, on the other hand, she is quite idealistic. She moves from Oklahoma to New York, and she followed a guy that she was in love with, and she wanted to establish her practice as a also couple therapist in New York. So she is having this idea that all problems in relationships can work out. The romance between Drew and Emery isn't really rushed. They take their time getting to know each other, and it's a really nice and enjoyable roller coaster of feelings because he is very direct and she doesn't really like him in the beginning and finds him almost off-putting, although she of course sees how attractive he is physically. But because they have some funny moments and some really angry moments, then she actually manages to see that he is not just so shallow. He also helps her with many different things. And of course she assists him because since he's a lawyer and he didn't have a secretary, then she helped him out a little bit as well. But of course the biggest test comes when they actually decide to have a deeper relationship with each other, and they had to overcome their differences, and also the fact that Emery still has this other guy in her life, although she feels something towards him, something romantic, while he sees her just as a friend. He's being overly protective of her, of course, but it never shows that he would have any bigger ambitions with her. So while this other guy, who is at the same time dating other girls, is somehow intruding into her life and trying to break it off between Drew and Emery, then he becomes a nuisance, actually. But of course, this is a romantic story, so in the end we will have happily ever after. But that doesn't mean there are no dark secrets and some things from the past that both characters have to deal with, which ultimately brings them together even tighter. The sexual content in this book had received a large amount of praise, and it is all well deserved. As it is tradition with Keeland, the sexual scenes are well described, the language is very descriptive and flowing, and it also helps that Drew himself uses dirty words during all the acts. Of course, there is my favorite office sex, and also some sex by the apartment window and on the bed. Nothing too kinky, and there is sex with and without condom, and even internal ejaculation. Keeland is often praised for her writing. It's very clean and to the point. There is no extra BS that would get in the way. Maybe in the beginning I felt that some parts were quite dragged on or dragged out. But I especially liked really good use of language when it came to sex and Drew's dirty lines, you could say. But there was also quite a lot of humor. I got some chuckles out of it. And you can see that the author is very experienced because the writing was very dynamic. There was just a proper ratio of fun, sadness, anger, hurt. So this requires a lot of preparation and good sense of pacing, which we luckily get. In some parts I felt like the story was running out of steam because, for example, they had sex and then what? So then we had to wait a little bit for the story to move on. But overall, I feel that's more like too much nitpicking, and the writing is fine for some really quality reading. All of my friends enjoyed this book, which doesn't happen very often. It's one of the best examples of the genre. It doesn't really bring or show anything new, but it ticks all the right boxes, which means that if you are an experienced reader, you might see way too many standard tropes of this genre, especially if you have experience with other books by Keeland. But I would definitely recommend it to newcomers, because you would want to give them a book that is one of the best examples of the genre, something that would draw them in. There is nothing boring about this book, there is nothing offensive in it, and not even that dark, really. It handles all the emotions just right. And with this, I conclude my review. I thank you for watching. Hopefully see you in the next video. Have a great night.